Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tash if you're new here. I am doing the 24-hour readathon today. I did film a intro for this, but I don't really know what that intro was like, so I'm just filming this one as a backup because it was at 6 a.m. when I filmed the initial intro, and I don't think that was really good. Lined up for this video, so I have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and I've also got First Time Caller by BK Borison, and I also wanted to go in and finish Beartown by Frederick Backman, which I've started, and I think I had maybe 150 pages left before this video started. Those are the three books that I've made sure to guarantee were in here, but as the night progresses you will see where my reading taste takes me and what happens, because it was an adventure. I don't really know what happened in the early hours of the morning, but it was definitely a challenge, so yeah, enjoy today's vlog. Good morning, besties. We are going to be doing my first ever 24-hour readathon. I want to do this for so long, but I've just never had the space in my house to be able to do it. It is currently right now 6:19 in the morning. I'm just about to put on Love Island Capture, play that in the background while I read my first book. I want to get this started now because I'm going to go all the way into the early morning of tomorrow. My plan for reading, I have got Beartown to finish, like 100 pages left. This is the only book that I'm not going to be reading that's not a romance in today's vlog. I want to make sure that I'm reading every single romance book that I possibly can. So I got Say You'll Remember Me. This is one of my favorite authors, and you should have seen the excitement that came out of me once this arrived in my Kindle. Yeah, I don't need to say any more. That's just the other arc that I've just received to my Kindle, which technically I didn't see the email in my inbox, but I've had this request since last year. I missed it in my inbox for some reason, so I've only got it as of today. It does come out this month on February 11th, and that is First Time Caller by BK Borison. So I definitely want to read both of those today. Then I don't really have any other plan besides those three books. Free for all, whatever I feel like in the moment, in the time, but it has to be romance. I need to start this 24-hour timer as soon as I can. We've started. Let's get to reading. For some reason, this clip and another clip were filmed in slow motion. I'm not really too sure, but I've lost all the audio. So I'm going to step in here and just explain exactly how I was feeling at this point for the check-in, because it is for 2 check-ins until my final review of First Time Caller. We have Lucy and Aiden. Aiden is a radio show host. He has fallen out of love with love, and he's currently hosting a radio show which is about love, but it is up and coming. It's not really that popular. Lucy's daughter actually calls up the radio show one night trying to get some dating advice for her mum because she wants her mum to get back out there. I'm not 100% sure the age of the daughter, but she was quite young. When Lucy hears her daughter talking to a man on the phone in the middle of the night, she freaks out and thinks that this is some random person and takes over the phone call and starts accusing him of talking to children. And from there, they start to obviously realize that this is a radio show, and she agrees to get some dating advice from him. It goes well, so well that a few weeks later, the clip goes viral. So viral, in fact, that people are invested in Lucy and her life, and obviously trying to find her the love that she deserves and needs. From there, the radio show actually contact her, the big bosses, and say, hey, can you come and be part of this radio show? We would love to have a segment about you where you come in regularly. That's where this check-in probably finishes. My first check-in, I got to maybe chapter 10, and they had just met. So this is a bit of a workplace setting, and they are almost forced into working together because there's a bit of forced proximity from the bosses, and they now have to work in this small little booth and meet up every week while she goes on dates and tells him all about it. So yeah, there is a bit of jealousy, there's a bit of everything in there. That was basically my first update. I don't really remember much else of what I had said, but my final review, which you'll see now, explains a little bit more about my more in-depth thoughts and opinions. At this stage, I was enjoying it, but I wasn't loving it. So yeah, I'm just about to make myself a coffee, but I've just finished First Time Caller and I'm about to start book 2. My opinions haven't really changed since I last spoke with you. I would still say my thoughts initially are like roughly the same. The premise of this book is what is fun, but I think what it's lacking is the pacing, and there were a few relationship issues that I personally had while reading it, especially like things which I was sort of hoping for but didn't end up happening. Minor spoiler, but there was one interaction between her child and Aiden, and then nothing happened for the rest of the book, which I was sort of hoping that there would be some form of a connection since this is a single parent book. But they met once, and that was the only interaction besides the phone call at the start of the book. That was sort of like what I was like hoping for, since it is a single parent trope, but we just didn't get that. Honestly, the whole book felt like I was like reading the same scene over and over again. They didn't change location as much as what I thought they would. It was a very regularly based within the studio, and I think that that was what made it so repetitive. Like, there wasn't much change in their relationship besides her going to work at the studio with him, and then that was just like the repeat pattern of the book. Another thing towards the end of the book that I was not enjoying as much was Aiden's behavior, if that's the right word. I really didn't enjoy the way he handled the conflict, and that really made me a little bit icky towards him. But I can see why he acted that way, but I just don't get it because they are meant to be 30. So I'm like, why are you acting like you're 19? I honestly think my opinions are going to be in the minor, because when I go and have a look at all of the opinions on Goodreads, on Fable, everyone's giving this book a 5-star. And to me, it's feeling like a 3.5. And that's me being generous. Could possibly give it a 3-star, but I'm probably going to sit on it a bit longer, and I'll probably say 3.5 for now. And I know I've been talking a lot of bad opinions about this book, but generally the writing, BK Borison's writing, is really good. So that's why I'm, it is still up there for me, because I do enjoy her writing, and I have enjoyed one of her other books previously, which I think I gave a 4.5 stars. That was from her Love Light Farm series, the final book. The other books in the series, I've only read the first book, which is Love Light Farms, and I gave that a 3-star. So at the moment, her books are sitting roughly around a 3 for me. So maybe that first book I read of hers, Business Casual, was once off, or maybe it was just right book, right time sort of thing. But yeah, I would say maybe this book is definitely maybe too heavily focused on the tropes and trying to make it Valentine's-y instead of focusing on the actual development of the relationship. But yeah, I think what let it down was maybe Aiden and like his reaction to the like relationship. It is really odd. Anyway, we don't really find out much about her baby daddy because he is involved in there, but it is a good relationship between them, and I would have loved to have found out more about what happened with them, because it is quite a unique relationship. I don't really want to explain too much about it and give it away, but I would have loved to have gone more in depth about that, and also her past with her other relationships, because I want to understand like why they were both struggling with love, because that's the whole concept of this book. Like, they don't really believe in love anymore. We don't really go in depth about it. So that would have been really nice, and I think maybe a chapter on that probably would have maybe a little bit more connected to their relationship and them trying to find love and opening themselves up. That would have probably helped me. I'm gonna, if I keep talking, I'm gonna probably give away too much of the plot and story, and I don't want to do that, so we'll leave it at 3.5. But what I will be doing, I think, now is I'm probably going to move into Beartown. Now, Beartown, I've started, not a romance book, even though we are trying to read romance for this vlog, but I really need to finish it. I started it a couple weeks ago and I've just been building up each week, and day prior, I had read up until the last 100 pages, so I've got maybe roughly like 150-ish pages to go. Maybe a quick synopsis about it, because obviously I won't have my initial reactions to this, but basically it follows a town, and obviously it's called Beartown. What happens within this town, it does follow quite a large group of people in this story. It is in third person, and you get different perspectives of this town and how hockey is this either a really good thing for the town, or how it is also perceived as a really bad thing from the town, from specific and different people, and how hockey affects the town in general. This town literally is dependent on hockey because they get all of their sponsorships. It is a team morale thing, especially throughout the winter months. It is the community and what holds the community together and also helps them survive. But something tragic happens, which you find out on the first page, and basically it alludes to someone being held up at gunpoint and being shot. So that is what we're trying to figure out throughout the entire book. What gets to this point, how did they get there, who it is, what's happened, etc, etc. And roughly maybe the first 30% I was a little bit iffy about the story. I was like, I don't really know if I'm enjoying this. I'm just reading for the sake of reading and getting to know all these characters. And then I hit maybe the 30-40% mark, and all of a sudden the script's flipped over on itself and something really bad happens, and it continually keeps happening. A lot of bad things across, this community. It's just following the sequence of events and the consequences of this event. Really roughly, like, the overall synopsis, I would say definitely check up your trigger warnings if you're going into this book, because there are a lot of triggering topics. It's not just like one major triggering thing. There are quite a few different things across it. It is on page stuff, so yes, definitely check trigger warnings if you need to. Otherwise, if you can go in blind, I would suggest going in blind, because this is a book that, yes, it may be a little bit slow to the start, but like once you're hooked, I could not put the book down. The self-control was real when I had to put it down for the last 100 pages, because I knew I wanted to vlog my reactions for you, which is what I'm going to do now. So hopefully I enjoy the second half just as much, because I've been enjoying it a lot, and I'm expecting it to be very emotional, because I was already getting emotional yesterday about it. I'm getting a really good feeling about the rating as well. Like yesterday it was sitting at maybe a 4.5, 5-star, or it's going to sit between 4.5 and 5. But yeah, I'm very excited. Not expecting that particular character to be the one who's holding the gun. The very first page of the book is late one evening towards the end of March, a teenager picked up a double-barreled shotgun, walked into the forest, put a gun to someone's forehead, and pulled the trigger. That's the very first page of the book. Wow. 6 o'clock. So we are hitting the nighttime. I've slowly been feeling my energy dropping a little bit, but I know once I have some dinner, I should be rebooted at least till the early hours of the morning. But I wanted to give you an update for the 2 books that I read. As you saw, I have finished Beartown officially. The ending surprised me. The emotions, I think I would have been more emotional if I continued reading yesterday, because I was reading it and then I stopped myself from finishing it because I knew I wanted to include it in this vlog. But because I had all the emotions built up yesterday and then I continued today, I think I just stunted that emotional side for the ending. But don't get me wrong, the entire book was like a roller coaster of emotions. So many triggering topics in here. Definitely check out trigger warnings, like I've said. Frederick Buckman's writing, I can only describe with one word, and I think it's raw, because I just felt raw emotions the entire time I was reading it. It was so vulnerable, but so entertaining. I think it was wonderful. Like, it was actually such a wonderful read. The writing, it was soft, but to the point, but also very beautiful, if that makes sense. Like, it was very blunt writing, but there was also sometimes paragraphs in there I'm just like, wow, that was really well said. Like, I couldn't have even thought up those words myself and put them together. I think also listening to an audiobook makes me want to go back and reread and annotate it, because there were just so many things I was like, yeah, I want to highlight that. But overall, this is definitely a book that depicts community, the sacrifices that you make for love, loyalty, survival, and also just like the fractures within a community as well, and how that affects everyone. As much as this book did break me at certain points, especially from about the 40% onwards, there was a way in which his writing put the community and the love back together in the book. At some points, there was one triggering topic where I thought, oh, I don't know how he's going to handle this specific topic, but the final few chapters really rounded it off, and I thought, oh no, like he was safe with what he wrote, because I was a little bit iffy with certain things that he was being mentioned throughout. I was like, oh, that's a bit, that's going a little too far. But no, it ended up being okay. So yeah, wow, 5 stars, easy. I'm incredible. Like, it was actually incredible. I'm definitely gonna have to find book 2. I did find book 3 at a charity shop, and it literally was a brand new book, so I got that for like £1.50. So now I need to go try and find the second book so I can continue reading this series. I also have another book of his which I want to start reading, which is A Man Called Ove. And I also want to read Anxious People, because this was my first Frederick Buckman book, and now I want to go back and read all of his books, because yeah, wow. This has been on my bookshelf for months, and I'm so sad I didn't pick it up earlier. Incredible. Moving on to the book I'm currently reading. I'm actually 20% into this book now. It says I've got 4 hours left of reading according to my Kindle, and that means it'll take me through to about 10 p.m. with reading. I've got about 12 hours and 20 minutes left of my timer. Chapter 10. This is following Samantha and Xavier. I actually went into this book blind. I've only seen the cover, I've not actually read the blurb, and that's purely because I just love Abby Jimenez and her books, and so many of her books that I've read are very highly rated from me, so I just knew that I wanted to read it. I'm a little bit like unsure of like where this book is going, because we have Samantha, which we did meet in Just for the Summer. She was the daughter of the lady who had dementia, so she was a little cameo in that book. And now meeting her, she actually runs a mustard like social media account, and she does all the marketing for that mustard company. So she's got quite an interesting and like fun background that we're sort of learning about with that, and also a very emotional background with her mum having dementia. And her family also live in California, and she is currently in the small town at this moment. Xavier is a vet doctor. He is not the easiest person to communicate with. He's quite a grumpy character, and we met him through the first page. Basically, this woman said that she wanted to come put down her dog, even though the dog was 4 years old and healthy, because her mum had actually passed away, and she was like, this was her one wish. But Xavier was like, yeah, I'll do it, but didn't end up doing it, and kept the dog himself, because he was like, pissed off at this woman for even suggesting it. So he just sort of like brushed her off and said that he did it. So he's kept this pet. Then he's met Samantha the next appointment, and she's brought in this cat, and then he said basically the cat needed to be put down. He needed to have a surgery, otherwise it was going to die, and he said that basically no one's going to fund her for it and she can't afford it. So she ended up funding it herself and getting it all done without him, just to prove a point. And she comes back into the vet 6 weeks later and basically proves that she could get it done, and the cat was healthy and she just wanted to rub it in his face, and he's now asked her on a date. But that's like basically the start of the story. So now they're just going on this date, and I don't actually know where the story is like moving towards, like what the goal is. So usually like with an Abby Jimenez book, like you start and within the first chapter, like there is an issue or there's something that they're moving the plot towards. The only plot we really have at the moment is Samantha with her mother. Nothing to do with the mustard company, nothing to do with the cat now that the cat's healthy. Xavier, he's just a grumpy man who's got a lot of background issues from his family as well. So yeah, I'm just like, where is this going? Like, I don't have like a driving plot at this stage, and I'm a little bit uncertain because I'm like, Abby, you usually don't let me down, but like I'm also like, I'm just following along on their date at the moment. Like they've been on a date for the last 4 chapters, and I'm not going to really explain what the date is because I don't want to give away too much since I've already told you quite a bit from the first maybe 5 chapters of the book. But I'm like, where is this going? Like, I don't understand where this is going. Yeah, that's like my only concern at this stage, but I'm gonna continue reading. I've got 4 hours left, and let's hope we get some form of a plot point, because right now I'm just feeling like this is just like a lackluster love story. I'm not feeling as connected to the characters. I feel like I should be getting more of their backgrounds rather than them like being flirty and lovey-dovey and admitting their attraction to each other. Like, it's just like, I'm like, this is very soon, like this is very quick. They're already like, let's go on a date, I think you're pretty, I think you're cute, and I'm like, I don't know these characters, like I don't know anything. I don't know, I'm a bit nervous because I had really high hopes for this. Yeah, I'll check in with you probably when I'm a bit over halfway. I just got done from having a shower. I'm feeling so much better. I had some food, I had a shower, and I feel a bit more regrouped because I started to like hit a brick wall, and I was like, I've only just hit the 12-hour mark, and that hour or so that I kept reading, I was really struggling. I feel a bit better now because I just feel a bit more refreshed. I've created a little bit of a setup down here with some of the pillows, and yeah, I'm ready to continue on with the second half. We've got 9 hours and 42 minutes remaining. I've got 2 hours roughly left of this book. I'm at roughly 60%, and I've just been listening to it through audio, and I think these headphones were giving me too much of a headache, so I've stopped listening to it through there and I'm just going to listen to it through my phone. I don't actually have an audiobook for this, so I don't know if anyone else knows this, but iPhone have an accessibility tool, I would say, that you can have on your screen here, which it's like a little arrow tab that shows up, and when you click the arrow you can go in and you can play the text that is on the screen, and with the Kindle app on the phone it will actually auto play through all of the pages of the book, so you don't have to touch the screen at all, it just reads to you. The only thing is though, is it's not as good as a narrator because it is like AI voice, monotone speaking, so sometimes the social cues don't really make sense because you're like, so I have to like sort of read along with it so that I can interpret what they're saying a little bit better. Well, not what they're saying, but how they're saying it. So that's the only thing, but if you're ever looking to have free audiobooks, that's a way to do it. It's not quite the same, but it gets the job done, especially like when I've got no brain power left. It's sort of just forcing the book into my ears, which is lovely because I don't have to actually sit there and focus really hard on the book. So that might be helpful towards the early hours of the morning as well. But yeah, I want to give a bit of an update on the actual book itself. Look, I'm gonna say, I think the pacing for this book is really off for me because it's really fast. Like everything is moving very, very fast, and it doesn't feel like the usual Abby Jimenez book for me. Yes, she does have fast-paced books. This book just feels like the pacing and the plot momentum together. It's not equaling out. Like usually there would be something that is pushing me along. I know that there's a conflict that we're needing to resolve. The conflict for this didn't come until maybe 45%. So that first 45%, I was like, I don't really know what I'm reading, or like if I really care about this relationship, or if I'm really rooting for them. It wasn't until that 45% mark that I started to feel it. And then even when I did feel it, I was like, okay, now it's feeling like an Abby book. It then ticked over again, and it just like, I don't know, something's not, it's not it's not the same. I don't know if I'm just overanalyzing because I've been reading all day, but I know what a good book feels like when you're reading it. Like this just feels too fast paced for me. The conflict that they have now wasn't really explained well enough to keep me interested in the first half. Like the first half, I was really struggling to just be present in the book. Like I was like, I don't, like, things are happening, but I don't care. Like, I do not care. I'm just gonna continue. I mean, I've got 2 hours left. I'm just gonna finish the book, but I don't know what I'm gonna rate this. Like, this one's a hard one for me. I have no idea where I sit right now. Like, it's still good enough to continue reading. That's the thing. Like, it is good, but I feel like the story and the characters, they've not meshed well for me personally. I love their characters as an individuals and their stories, especially Samantha's. Like I feel like I'm really connected to her and her story at the moment. I wish we got more of Xavier's story, which I'm assuming we will soon. We've still got 40% of the book left. But I wish I got to know the characters first rather than their relationship first. It all feels in reverse. Like yeah, I feel it, yeah, it's just back to front to me and it's not working, which is really sad. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. That's my update for now. I'm getting so tired. It is 11 o'clock. I've got 54 minutes left of this book still. I feel like I'm just like getting slower and slower. I have a trusty Red Bull, which if anyone knows me, I do not drink anything like this, so I think I'm gonna stick with maybe trying half and seeing how I go, because I don't want to have an anxiety attack. But I'm also like, I'm that tired that I think I might need the whole thing. I was gonna try hold out to past 12, but I was laying down, which I'm not doing anymore. I could feel myself dozing off, so yeah, I'm gonna have this, and if it doesn't wake me up, I'm gonna have to have a dance break. I just want to say I give props to any people who do this video challenge regularly, because how do you do this? I'm struggling so much. 6 hours. 6.5 hours. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. The Red Bull is slowly kicking in, but it's not kicked in enough to the point where I feel like I'm awake. I just feel like I'm in like a delirious state, and I know it's only gonna get worse. And like my bedtime was like 2 hours ago, so I'm already like, this is a struggle. You're getting into the early hours of the morning. I feel like the rest of this vlog I will not be moving spots. It is 1 o'clock in the morning. We have 5 hours and 15 minutes left. Look, I'm going to give you my final review for Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I personally enjoyed the second half a lot more than the first half. I just don't think that this was my favourite Abby Jimenez book. Some of the jokes felt a little bit... I don't like saying this because I technically almost am a millennial, but I am the day that Gen Z starts. Like I'm the first day of Gen Z's generation, but the jokes felt millennial. Even though it was millennial though, I did enjoy Xavier and Samantha's relationship. However, it did feel insta-lovey and the pacing was off for me, so that really did disrupt the first half of the book. I also felt like a lot of the topics that were included that were just like the fun side of the book There was a lot of social media references, and they were very like specific trends and things that were mentioned. I get that it was trying to like add the humor, but again, it felt like it'll date quickly because like those trends come and go so quickly, especially TikTok trends. So I think that that sort of will put an expiry date and like a very specific time frame on when this book was published. So yeah, that's like one thing I mentioned. Sorry, not mentioned, what I noted. Yeah, I at this stage I think I'm sadly gonna give this a 3 star. The first half was a 2 star and the second half was a 3.5. So I've just gone and met in the middle. Yes, it was emotional. Maybe I was too tired to fully comprehend the emotions because usually I do cry to her books, but I did not cry to this one. I didn't feel that connection with the characters, so that's probably where it was let down for me. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. The Red Bull is kicking in more and more. We'll see how I feel as the night goes on, but I have started what possibly could be my final book because, as we can tell from this reading vlog, I am a very slow reader. That's one thing I've learnt. I see these people who are reading like 5 or 6 books in one vlog and I'm like, props to you, because yeah, I don't know how I would ever be able to do that. Like, I wish I could do that and I'm very jealous because yeah, I've just realized it takes me about 8 hours to read one book. Like, that must be a very slow reading pace. I'm sure there's other people out there like that, like me. I thought I was fast. I'm not. So I'm averaging about 3 books, I would say, in a 24-hour reading period because technically Beartown I did only read 100 pages. But I have actually started a fan fiction. I think we've hit that time of the night. Like, this is when things get a little bit weird and I do need something that's not so serious. I don't want to have to think. I want it to be fun. I want it to be spicy. I mean, look at the state of me. So I started a fanfiction. It is a Harry Potter fanfiction. I have been reading a lot of Hermione last year, but I've not read much. No, sorry. I read a lot of Hermione not last year, the year prior, 2023. I reread Manacled end of last year, maybe in November, I would say. I reread that within like 4 or 5 days. I love Manacled and I've already pre-ordered Alchemized, so yes, excited for that. But then now I've seen a lot of Hermione TikToks, and then all of a sudden I got a recommendation for a book that was Hermione, Draco, Theo. And then I realized that there was like this whole side of TikTok that they have like a ship name for them, but I can't pronounce it. I'll put it on the screen. And then this book was recommended. It's called Sugar and Spice. I started it maybe no, not last night, the night before. The night before I started this vlog, but it's now the morning. I'm just gonna say last night. Yes, I started it and I got like 190 pages in before I went to sleep that night. So I've started at page 204, but my camera died, so it has been charging again. I'm at page 250 at the moment. This sort of follows them in 8th year. This is after they've won the war, Voldemort's no longer around, and they are in school again, but they've been assigned a group project for one of their classes, and it was those 3 on the table that day, so they got grouped together that day. And now this is going to take them like the next few months to finish this group project, so they're meeting quite frequently every week to do this. Interestingly, it starts off with Theo and Draco already in a relationship, so yeah, right now Hermione's just joined it, little trio happening, and we're having a great time. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm hoping that because this is like a spicy book, the next 5 hours will go quick and I will enjoy myself. Like, when I checked it, it's 738 pages. I've got it on my books app because I downloaded it from AO3, but when I went to send it to my Kindle, it unfortunately sent to books automatically for some reason. I don't know why. So I have to read it on my actual phone, which is not as fun, but it is also easier for me to read on here. I don't know why I'm explaining this, like it doesn't really matter. Like, this is like my brain is gone. Okay, I've been talking for too long. Goodbye. It's getting to that time of night. That Red Bull is making my heart pound out of my chest, especially now that I just danced. I needed that dance to wake up because I was falling asleep. Real talk about this book though. Real talk. I've never in my life said real talk. My honest thoughts about this book. I'm finding that it's a little bit too spicy for me. There's no plot. The plot is the spice. Yes, that probably would have been good, but I'm also bored. I'm trying to decide if I switch to Draco Malfoy and the mortifying deal of being in love, because I've heard that that is a really good rom-com. I'm thinking, do I just switch fanfics? Because this one's just not giving me what I want. Like, I'm already 300 pages in and there's another, like, just under 400 pages left. And they're all together already and I'm just bored. Yeah, I might switch. At this point, I'm checking in with you like it's a Big Brother diary cam. I can't handle the big light anymore. I had to turn it off. Is this going to be an issue? Probably, but my eyes can't take reading like this with the light there glaring at me. But I think it's a little bit too cozy. Under 4 hours to go now. My brain power's gone. I didn't make it through the night. It's 1:15 in the afternoon now. I did not make it. I think I got to maybe like 3:15. At that point, because I had turned off the big light, I was so tired and the Red Bull had officially just worn off. I like went into like this weird sleep state where I was like in and out of sleep, thinking that it had only been about like 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'll just rest my eyes for a little bit. And then I hear the blaring alarm at 6:30, whatever time it was. And then I shot up and I was like, oh my god, I just fell asleep for the rest of the video. So yeah, didn't make it. I tried my best. I think I got maybe 20, 21 hours total, which I'm very happy for my first video. I think that that's a very good attempt, but it gives me such a perspective of these people who do actually stay up for 24 hours straight. Like, well, you have a big brain, especially the ones that are reading lots of books. I give them props because that was really hard. Once I hit the 12-hour mark, my energy levels dropped and reading became like a task. Once I hit the 20-hour mark, like I was already like long gone. I was struggling to read the pages. It was just too much brain work for me. Anyone who wants to do this challenge, give it a go. It is actually a challenge. I will be doing it again, 100%. It was a lot of fun. Even though when I think back on it, those last few hours, I was so delirious. I don't even know what I filmed. When I edit this, yeah, I don't know what is going to be made of this. I remember dancing at one point during the night, so who knows. I want to give my final check-in for the video though. So my reviews, I think I'm going to stick with the ratings that I gave. First time caller, I'm going to stick with a 3.5. Beartown, 100% a 5-star read. And Say You'll Remember Me is a 3-star. With Sugar and Spice, I will be DNFing that book. I don't think I'll be going back to it. I think I got just under 300 pages and I read maybe 100 pages last night. So yeah, that's a DNF for me. I think it's just, there was not enough plot to keep me going. Like the entire book was Spice. So if you're looking for that type of Hermione book, definitely pick it up, but it wasn't something that I'm sort of looking for right now. With Draco Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of being in love, I think I read like 20 pages. I haven't even finished chapter 1. I'm 3% in, just on the borderline of 3%. I will continue reading that separately, and I think I'll probably give a review for that when I've actually gotten into the book, so keep an eye out for that. The one thing I've learned is I'm a slow reader. And that's okay. I would say in total I've probably read 3 entire books. So that's good for 24 hours. I think that's really good. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the video here. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe. I'm gonna be doing more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you.